So someone with cancer, what would be the best breakfast for them? With the cancer, we usually advocate 6 weeks no fruit. So what would be their breakfast if there's going to be no fruit? We want to get the glucose levels down even lower. So maybe just half a cup of some of the grains we just looked at. Maybe rice. So will we put buckwheat or rice? And we can have some green.
Welcome to today's eye-opening discussion on cancer prevention with Barbara O'Neill, a world-renowned health expert who has transformed countless lives through her teachings. Today, we're diving into the shocking truth about grains and their role in cancer prevention. You might be surprised to learn how these common foods can play a significant part in your health journey. Barbara will reveal why grains are more than just a nutritious addition to your diet. They could be a powerful ally in the fight against cancer. First, let's understand why grains are such a crucial component of a cancer preventive diet. Grains, including buckwheat, millet, brown rice, and quinoa, are packed with essential nutrients and compounds that support overall health. According to Barbara O'Neill, these foods are rich in fiber, antioxidants, and phytochemicals, which have been shown to protect cells from damage, reduce inflammation, and promote healthy digestion. Not only do these grains help regulate blood sugar levels and reduce the risk of obesity, a key factor in cancer development, but they also contain compounds that may inhibit the growth of cancer cells. According to the World Health Organization, it is beneficial to choose whole grains such as unprocessed maize, millet, oats, wheat, and brown rice whenever possible. These grains are high in valuable fiber, which not only aids digestion, but also helps keep you feeling full for a longer period, supporting overall health and well-being.
Did you know that Vladimir Putin, the Russian's president, he's passed a law that any Russian who grows or sells genetically modified foods is to be considered a terrorist. Whew. He's even giving land away to Russians who will grow food organically, non-GMO. You put his name and GMO in Google that and you'll read the spiel. He says, we Russians look across at the West, over-vaccinated, over-medicated, overfed, sitting in front of boxes every night in their lounge rooms, eating food that has no nutrients, he said, and we know it's weakening the West. Is he right? Yeah, 100%. Absolutely right, yeah. Unfortunately, Monsanto is so powerful and so wealthy and so big, they win every court case where Australians want GMO to be labelled on the products. Happens in America too, it's unfortunate. So how do you know? Well, you don't, unless you buy organic. You see, if an organic farmer uses genetically modified seed, they lose their organic status. So grow as much as you can yourself. And the more Aussies that buy organic, the more organic will be available. One organic tomato will give you 9 times the iron of a conventionally grown tomato. So you get much more value for your money, even though organic is more expensive. Genetically modified food happens when the DNA of 2 different species are spliced together to create, for instance, DNA of the tomato with the DNA of an Atlantic salmon, hoping to create a tomato that grows in the snow, but actually it doesn't grow in the snow. And it has 5 centres instead of 1, and there's all these strange things happening, and when the person eats that tomato, it breaks down to molecules that your body cannot recognise and has the ability to damage your DNA.
Now let's take a closer look at each grain and their cancer-fighting benefits. Disclaimer: the information provided in this video is for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Do not disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have read or seen in this video. Brown rice.
Is white rice good for you? White rice has been eaten for a long, long time. It is not as superior as brown rice. Brown rice contains a lot more nutrients. It contains the B vitamins. It also has fibre, and our gastrointestinal tract needs to be swept every day, and the fibre helps with that. Some people say to me, I don't like brown rice, it's too chewy, it's too hard. Well, that tells me that it hasn't been cooked enough. I was speaking with a Dr. Agatha Thrash. She has passed now, but she made quite a stamp on the health work. She's done a mighty work in her time. And she told me this story. She said that when she did post-mortems, she noticed a lot of people had little tiny scars all through their brain. And then she read a statement from a famous health writer that said, grains should receive long, slow cooking. And so she cooked rice, and after half an hour she tested it, and she said there are a lot of starch granules still there. And she said, the starch granule was about 6 times the size of a red blood cell. She tested the rice after 3/4 of an hour, same thing, a few less. After an hour, a few less. I think it was something like an hour and a half before there were no starch granules left in the rice, in any grain she tested. And she came to the conclusion that these many little scars that she would see in her post-mortems were because people are eating grains that are not cooked enough. So when you cook rice, whether it be white, whether it be brown, maybe it's in a rice cooker, turn the rice cooker off, but don't open the rice cooker for another hour. And being in the rice cooker, it will be hot and it will continue to cook. The reason why many people don't like brown rice is because it's chewy. Well, it hasn't been cooked enough. If it was cooked as long as it should be cooked, it would be soft, just as soft as the white rice. To get your family used to brown rice, maybe you can do half white and half brown. Even white rice, it needs that extra long period of time so that it's soft. If you were to boil it for that amount of time, it would be very sticky or gluey. So it's a good idea to cook it and then turn it off and just let it slowly keep cooking. But white rice is actually very good for people with irritable bowel, Crohn's disease, colitis, because it's a very low allergy food. And when someone has these diseases, inflammation of the gastrointestinal tract, they need something very smooth and soft. So white rice can be used sometimes. Better to use wholemeal rice. White rice can be used if you have irritation of the gut.
Brown rice is more than just a healthier alternative to white rice. It's a powerhouse in cancer prevention and fat burning. Barbara O'Neill emphasizes that brown rice, with its outer bran layer intact, is a rich source of fiber, antioxidants, and essential nutrients. The high fiber content in brown rice promotes healthy digestion, which plays a key role in cancer prevention, particularly in the colon. By keeping the digestive system running smoothly, brown rice helps to reduce the risk of colorectal cancer. Fiber also helps regulate blood sugar levels, preventing insulin spikes that can contribute to both cancer and fat gain. Brown rice also plays a role in detoxifying the body, removing harmful toxins, and creating a less hospitable environment for cancer cells. According to Barbara, freshly cooked brown rice is antifungal when eaten immediately, adding another layer of protection against cancer-causing pathogens. Its antioxidants, like selenium, help combat oxidative stress and inflammation, 2 major contributors to cancer development.
There are 2 foods that commonly grow mold. One is peanuts and one is cooked rice. In 1921, Japan passed the Rice Act. You see, there was an epidemic of cardiac beriberi, which is a heart condition, all through Asia. And so the Japanese government passed the Rice Act in 1921, putting stringent rules on the storing of cooked rice because they found mold waste or mycotoxin was directly affecting the heart. We should eat rice fresh every day. You want to make sushi? Cook the rice in the morning, make sushi for lunch. Some say, what if you put it in the fridge? You can cook it in the morning and put it in the fridge and maybe eat it in the afternoon, and maybe you can cook the rice at night, refrigerate it and have it the next morning, but you never let it go more than 24 hours. It can grow a mold and we can't even see it. I had a lady do our program who was a pathologist. She said, when I was at uni studying pathology, there were 2 things that always tested positive for mold. She said it was peanuts and cooked rice.
According to a review in Biomed Research International, brown rice and its byproducts, like rice bran and rice germ, can help prevent cancer. They reduce inflammation in the body, which is linked to cancer, by lowering a gene called COX2 that causes inflammation. Brown rice also contains helpful compounds that can stop cancer cell growth and reduce tumors, especially in the colon. Studies in animals have shown that diets with brown rice lead to fewer tumors. These benefits come from brown rice triggering the natural death of cancer cells and affecting important processes in the body. Since brown rice is widely available and affordable, adding it to our diets could be an easy way to help prevent cancer and improve overall health. Barbara advises incorporating brown rice into your diet as a base for meals like stir-fries or grain bowls. By eating brown rice regularly, you can enjoy its cancer-fighting and fat-burning benefits while nourishing your body. Millet.
Lima beans and lentils and soy are the three alkaline-forming legumes. For your grains, the millet is alkaline. We had millet this morning. It's a delicious grain, isn't it? I'm sure you can understand when I said it needs to be dressed. It's basically a bland grain, but it's very nice with the stewed apple and the pear cream and the sprinkles on top. Or it's also very nice if you have it with savoury, your lentils. Quinoa. I think we'll be having quinoa at another breakfast time. These are alkaline grains, but they're also gluten-free grains, so that's made them very popular. Amaranth. Amaranth is a grain that's not very well known. I think the Aztecs, traditionally they've eaten the quinoa and the amaranth. It's a very tiny grain, and when you cook it, it goes like a lump of glue. But what I often do when my grandsons are with us, because they like a porridge, I'll put a little amaranth with the millet, or I'll put a little amaranth with the quinoa, or if they have oats, I'll put a little amaranth with the oats. So that's quite nice. Spelt. Spelt and kamut are wild hybrids of the original wheat. So let me give you the wheat story. The original wheat that God made is called Enkenhorn, or some call it just Enkhorn. And that original wheat had a very fragile protein or gluten structure. It is not sure when, but they estimate a couple of 1,000 years ago, Enkenhorn did a wild hybrid with a field grass and came up with the Emma strain of wheat. Its structure, its protein or gluten structure is not as fragile, but it's still fairly fragile. And in the 1950s, it was the Emma strain of wheat that was put through intensive crossbreeding, and it came up with the hybridized wheat that we know today. That hybridization of the wheat created an incredibly complex gluten or protein structure. Yesterday we looked at the starch that was changed, but today we're looking at how the hybridization process changed the gluten or the protein structure, and it's almost only a cast iron gut that can break down that very complex protein or gluten structure. That explains why so many people are gluten intolerant today. You look at the timeline. So it was the 1950s that the wheat was hybridized. It was the 1970s that it went worldwide. So by the 1990s, every pasta, every pizza, every biscuit, cake, cookie, donut, cereal, bread, it's all made out of the hybridized wheat. You see, the farmers love it, and I don't blame them for loving it because they get 6 times more grain per acre. Who wouldn't like that? They've got to pay their bills. But as I mentioned yesterday, it was zoomed through to help with the starvation crisis in the world, and safety studies were never done. This explains the gluten intolerance that we see today. The 2 most common symptoms of a gluten intolerance is brain fog and bloating. I meet so many people that have brain fog and bloating, and they almost think it's normal, or it can be blamed on age. Poor old age gets blamed for so many things. Isn't that true? Now this Emma wheat it also did a wild hybrid to come up with a field grass and came up with the spelt. So the spelt, it has retained the fairly fragile structure, and if that spelt meal is made into a sourdough bread, the culturing process in the sourdough bread breaks down that protein or gluten structure even more, so that it now has the original structure of the Enkenhorn. If someone is celiac, they cannot have even the spelt. But if someone's gluten intolerant or gluten sensitive, they can usually handle the spelt, especially if it's made into a sourdough bread.
Millet is often overlooked, but is a nutritional powerhouse when it comes to cancer prevention and weight management. This ancient grain is highly recommended by Barbara O'Neill for its impressive nutrient profile. The American Institute for Cancer Research recommends incorporating millet into your diet as part of a cancer-preventive lifestyle. Millet is gluten-free, rich in fiber, and packed with antioxidants such as flavonoids, which help reduce inflammation and oxidative stress in the body. These antioxidants play a crucial role in neutralizing free radicals, thus reducing the risk of cellular damage that can lead to cancer. Millet's low glycemic index means it won't spike blood sugar levels, which is vital since high blood sugar feeds cancer cells. Barbara O'Neill also stresses the importance of keeping glucose levels low in a cancer-conquering diet, as cancer cells thrive on sugar. Millet is rich in magnesium, which supports energy levels and fat metabolism, helping you burn fat more efficiently. Barbara suggests including millet in your diet as a porridge for breakfast, or using it as a base for grain salads.
What about grains? Millet. You tasted millet for breakfast. It's a delicious grain, isn't it? I think it's one of my favourites. It's a light, sweet grain. Millet is a little different to other grains. Instead of 2 cups of water to 1 cup of grain, you've got to do 3 cups of water to 1 cup of grain when you cook the millet. And always buy hulled millet. If you buy millet with its hull on, you can cook it for 2 weeks and it'll still be crunchy. Some people don't mind it, but if someone's got some colon problems, it might irritate a little.
Incorporating millet into your meals can support cancer prevention, while also helping you maintain a healthy weight. Buckwheat.
Buckwheat? It's interesting that your alkaline grains are all your gluten-free grains. The Russians and the Polish love their buckwheat. A lot of Aussies don't because it's a little bit strong, but a very nice way to get used to buckwheat is to buy buckwheat pancake mix from your health food shop. Makes a nice pancake. Now, if that hybridized wheat was made into a sourdough bread, because of the culturing process, it breaks down the gluten structure to make it a little bit more fragile. And if spelt is made into sourdough bread, it can bring it back to that original structure of the Enkenhorn wheat. Now, if someone eats wheat and they have an intolerance to it, do you know it can get that blood pressure up? So blood pressure can be caused by wheat. So how do you know what you are? I've got a challenge for you. Stop it for 2 months, see what happens. Well, what will we eat? Well, you can buy some very nice spelt and kamut breads in New Zealand. Go to your health food shop. You can buy gluten-free pastas. You can buy gluten-free cereals. But as you saw in my lecture last night, and by what I explained before the break, the 3 main essential food groups are your fibre, your protein, and your fats. What we need to do is get the carbohydrate part of our diet down, down, down. So what do we eat? Well, I'll tell you what I ate today. For breakfast, I had some new season apple, I had some nectarine, I had some almonds, I had a gluten-free bread that had been bought that had buckwheat and some very nice grains in it. I had olive oil on that, I had avocado on top of that, and I had black-eyed beans on that. Very high in fibre, everything had fibre, generous amounts of protein and some healthy fats. And then I'm not hungry again. I think we ate at 8 o'clock today, and I think we had lunch at 2:30. something like that. You're not hungry to learn. Fantastic, because those foods keep the body going. They slowly release the nutrients.
Despite its name, buckwheat is not related to wheat and is naturally gluten-free, making it an excellent choice for those looking to reduce inflammation and fight cancer.
Why are so many people gluten intolerant? I would say 75 to 80% of guests that come here are either sensitive to gluten, gluten intolerant, or the severe sign is celiac. Why is that? There are 4 reasons. One is babies are being fed starch too young. Strange things are happening today. People are feeding babies food and human beings, adults, are drinking milk. Isn't that strange? We don't think it is because we're so used to it. It's only the last 100 years that babies are being fed food. Now, when I was a young mother, I didn't like the way mothering happened. I didn't like that you had to buy all these contraptions and all these special foods and formulas. So I decided that I would make island women and African women in villages my mentors. And I was going to mother like they did. I slept with my babies, I breastfed my babies, I carried my babies in slings until they could walk, and I didn't feed them. And I didn't feed them because they didn't have teeth, because that defied reason to me. I thought babies should not eat until they can sit, till they can get the food, until they have something in their mouth to chew it. Does that make sense? You know, there's been a death, no one attended the funeral because no one knew he'd died. It was the death of common sense. Isn't that right? We may not be doctors, but we have common sense. So that's what I did. My babies had lots of wet nappies, they were happy, they were well padded. I thought, they are not giving me any sign that they need any more.
Barbara O'Neill highlights buckwheat's unique nutrient profile, which includes high levels of fiber, plant-based protein, and powerful antioxidants such as rutin. Rutin is a flavonoid that has been shown to reduce oxidative stress and lower the risk of cancer by protecting cells from damage. Buckwheat also supports detoxification, helping the body eliminate toxins that can contribute to cancer. In a cancer-conquering diet, reducing toxin exposure and improving the body's ability to detoxify is critical. Additionally, the protein in buckwheat helps you feel fuller for longer, reducing the likelihood of overeating. According to a review in Molecules, tartary buckwheat is packed with beneficial compounds like rutin and quercetin, which may help fight cancer. The study found that extracts from tartary buckwheat seeds can significantly reduce the growth of human gastric cancer cells in lab tests. These compounds work by triggering a process that leads to the death of cancer cells, suggesting that tartary buckwheat could be a valuable food for cancer prevention and health improvement. Barbara recommends using buckwheat as a flour alternative for pancakes or baking, or simply cooking it as a grain for salads and side dishes. Its slightly nutty flavor makes it a delicious and nutritious option for various meals. By including buckwheat in your diet, you'll not only be reducing your cancer risk, but also supporting your body's ability to burn fat. Quinoa.
Quinoa. This is a grain Aussies are just beginning to become familiar with. It's spelt quinoa, but it's pronounced quinoa. The Aztecs love their quinoa. Aussies are starting to get familiar with it because it's a gluten-free grain.
Quinoa is often called a super grain for good reason. Barbara O'Neill praises quinoa for its exceptional nutritional value and cancer-fighting properties. According to the American Institute for Cancer Research, quinoa is one of the whole grains that may provide additional cancer preventive benefits beyond refined grains. Emerging research suggests that whole grains like quinoa, which are rich in dietary fiber and nutrients, can help reduce the risk of colorectal cancer. This is based on strong evidence that links higher consumption of whole grains to a decreased cancer risk, particularly due to their fiber content and other beneficial compounds. Quinoa is a complete protein, meaning it contains all 9 essential amino acids, which are crucial for maintaining muscle mass and supporting immune function. This is especially important in cancer prevention, as a strong immune system can better detect and destroy abnormal cells before they develop into cancer. Quinoa's fiber content aids in digestion and helps remove toxins from the body, an essential component of a cancer-conquering diet. Quinoa's low glycemic index also makes it an ideal choice for managing blood sugar, an important factor in starving cancer cells of their favorite fuel, glucose. Its antioxidant profile, which includes quercetin and camphorol, helps neutralize free radicals and reduce inflammation. To incorporate quinoa into your diet, Barbara O'Neill recommends a heart-healthy quinoa salad. To make the salad, combine the cooked quinoa, spinach, almonds, feta, and pomegranate seeds in a large bowl. In a small bowl, whisk together lemon juice, olive oil, salt, and pepper to create a simple, flavorful dressing. Drizzle the dressing over the salad and gently toss everything to ensure even coating. This nutritious salad can be enjoyed as a main dish for lunch or dinner, providing a delicious way to incorporate quinoa into your daily routine while boosting heart health and overall wellness. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to stay updated on more insightful health tips from Barbara O'Neill. If you've experienced the benefits of adding these grains to your diet, drop a comment below. Stay tuned for more groundbreaking information on cancer prevention and holistic health.